forgotten god who created the sun, the hidden truth about Ra. Before time was born, before the first breath of the cosmos, there was darkness, a silence so deep even the stars were afraid to speak, and from that silence emerged light, a light that would become the heart of all creation. That light was Ra. He was not merely a god, he was the source of existence itself, the burning eye that watched over creation, the eternal cycle of birth and death. And for thousands of years, humanity looked up to him and saw not just the sun, but their soul reflected in the fire of the sky. Today, we travel back through the golden sands of eternity to uncover who Ra truly was, not as a myth, not as a legend, but as a symbol of consciousness itself. This is the journey back in time, and this is the story of Ra, the light that never dies. The dawn before dawn. In the beginning, there was none, the infinite ocean of chaos, a dark, shapeless sea that held every potential, every dream, every nightmare. There was no sky, no earth, no sound, only the pulse of something waiting to awaken. And from that abyss, a spark rose, a spark of pure energy, the first act of divine will. That spark became a radiant sphere, blazing brighter than anything that had ever existed. That light gave itself a name, Ra. He rose from the waters of chaos on a lotus flower, a symbol of rebirth, rising clean and perfect from the murky depths. The Egyptians believed that at that very moment, the universe began to breathe. The light that Ra emanated became the first sunrise, and when the golden glow touched the void, the world began to take shape. The sky unfolded like a veil of sapphire. The earth solidified beneath the cosmic sea, and from the dust of Ra's breath came all forms of life. He became the father of gods, Shu, the air, and Tefnut, the moisture. Together, they gave birth to Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky. And from them came the lineage of the divine, Osiris, Isis, Seth, Nephthys, the forces that would define existence. But Ra, he stood above them all, the ruler, the creator, the eternal flame. The Egyptians saw him not as one among the gods, but as the essence from which all divinity flows. The past still speaks. Will you listen? Subscribe to the journey back in time and uncover what history tried to hide. The Eye of Ra, the power of light. To understand Ra, we must understand what he symbolizes. He is not just the physical sun. He is the inner light that illuminates the mind. To the ancient Egyptians, every human carried a piece of Ra within, a spark of the divine that they called Ka. When Ra sailed across the heavens each day in his solar ship, it was not merely a story about the sun moving across the sky. It was a metaphor for the journey of the soul, the constant struggle between clarity and chaos, consciousness and darkness. Each morning, Ra's rise symbolized enlightenment. Each night, when he descended into the underworld, he faced the serpent Apophis, the embodiment of chaos, who tried to devour his light. And when Ra triumphed, when the dawn returned, It meant that order had overcome chaos once more. This was not just religion, it was the cosmic psychology of an ancient civilization. They believed that within each person, the same battle occurred every day. The light of reason, of awareness, fighting the shadows of fear, ignorance, and doubt. Ra was not only the god of the sun, he was the god of consciousness itself, the hidden wisdom of the sun. In temples carved into golden stone, the priests of Ra performed daily rituals to feed the sun. They believed that through prayer, light, and offering, they could renew Ra's strength to rise again. But beneath those rituals lay a secret teaching, a truth reserved for the initiated. That truth was this: the sun outside was only a reflection of the sun within. The ancients knew that the universe was not separate from man. It was mirrored within the human soul. Ra's journey across the heavens was your journey, the voyage of awakening, death, and rebirth within consciousness. Every dawn was a chance to be born again. Every sunset, a reminder that even gods must descend into darkness to be renewed. To the uninitiated, Ra was simply a god of light. To the enlightened, Ra was the symbol of self-realization, the light that conquers ignorance, the fire that purifies illusion, the eternal energy that flows through every living being. And so, temples became more than houses of worship. They became living blueprints of the cosmos. The layout of each temple mirrored the journey of Ra, from darkness into light. From the hidden sanctum, symbolizing the primordial chaos, through corridors of illumination, to the open courtyard where sunlight poured in like divine revelation. In that architecture, the Egyptians encoded the path to enlightenment. They believed that if you could walk the temple consciously, you could awaken the god within. Ra as Atum, the hidden god within. In the oldest texts, Ra was called Atum, meaning the complete one. He was the god who created himself, who emerged from nothing by the sheer power of will. He did not need a mother, a father, or a cause. He simply was. And that perhaps is the most profound secret of all. Ra represents the eternal principle of self-creation, the awareness that reality itself is consciousness manifesting, light emerging from its own shadow. To the priests of Heliopolis, this was the highest truth, that the universe is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you. The story of Ra's birth from chaos is the story of the human awakening. Every time you rise from despair, every time you find clarity in confusion, every time you bring light into your darkness, you are reenacting the creation of the world. That was the wisdom of Egypt, the ancient technology of the soul. Ra was not just worshipped, he was remembered. Because deep down, they knew the light they saw in the sky was the same light burning within themselves. But light can never exist without shadow. And even gods are not immune to darkness. In the next part of our journey, we will descend with Ra into the underworld, where he meets his greatest enemy, not in the skies above, but in the depths of his own being. This is only the beginning of the end of Ra's eternal day. Ra's descent, the battle with the serpent of chaos. Every dawn begins as a promise, every light a fragile victory against the darkness that came before. But the Egyptians knew that no light lasts forever. Even the greatest god, the eternal Ra, had to face his night. And every night, he died. This was not tragedy. It was destiny. Because to the ancients, death was not an end. It was the passage, the sacred descent into the hidden world of truth. And so, as the crimson sun touched the horizon each evening, Ra began his most dangerous journey, the journey through the Duat, the underworld, the unseen realm where time dissolves, where souls are tested, and where gods remember their own mortality. The descent into the Duat. When the sky darkened, the people of Egypt believed Ra entered his second form, Ra-Atum, the old and weary sun god. He boarded his Mesektet bark, the boat of the setting sun, and descended beneath the western horizon, sailing into the river of night. But he did not go alone. With him were divine protectors, gods who embodied the laws of the cosmos, Saya, the god of perception, Heka, the god of magic and divine speech, and Maat, the goddess of truth and balance, the very order of the universe itself. Together, they traveled through 12 gates, 12 hours of the night. Each gate represented a deeper layer of the unconscious, a darker depth of the unseen world. There, Ra faced monstrous guardians, rivers of fire, and spirits of chaos that sought to devour his light. And at the deepest point, the 12th hour, he faced his eternal enemy, Apophis, the great serpent of darkness. Apophis, the devourer of light. Apophis, also called Apep, was not merely a monster. He was chaos itself, the embodiment of everything that resisted order, knowledge, and creation. He was the eternal shadow of the sun. Each night, he waited in the black river of the Duat, coiled and silent. When Ra's bark approached, Apophis rose from the depths, a serpent so vast his body could encircle the world. His roar was the sound of cosmic storms, his breath the wind that extinguishes stars. He sought one thing, to swallow Ra whole, to plunge creation back into eternal night. But Ra was not powerless. He carried within him the fire of creation, the light that no darkness could fully destroy. The gods of his bark chanted spells of protection, and the priests on earth joined them in their nightly rituals, believing their prayers strengthened the god in his battle below. The duel between Ra and Apophis was more than myth. It was cosmic law. It represented the eternal struggle between order and chaos, awareness and oblivion, being and nothingness. And every night, Ra triumphed, his light piercing the serpent's darkness. Yet the victory was never permanent. For Apophis could not be destroyed, only defeated again and again as the cycle continued. This was the Egyptian understanding of reality, that chaos is never truly gone. It is always waiting beneath the surface, just beyond the horizon of light. And only through vigilance, through constant awakening, could one keep the darkness at bay. As Ra sailed through the underworld, he was not alone. For the Duat was also the realm of the dead, the place where every human soul journeyed after death. They too boarded the celestial ship of Ra, hoping to be reborn in his light when dawn returned. But before they could ascend, Their hearts were weighed in the hall of Maat. In this sacred chamber, the heart of the deceased was placed on a golden scale, balanced against the feather of truth. If the heart was light, free of deception, cruelty, and falsehood, the soul joined Ra in the eternal sunrise. If it was heavy with sin and lies, the heart was devoured by Amit, the demoness who ended all hope of rebirth. This judgment mirrored Ra's own journey, for even a god faced the test of truth each night. The myth reminded humanity, even the divine must remain pure to rise again. It was not the fear of punishment that drove them to righteousness. It was the desire to remain in the light, to walk beside the eternal sun. To the uninitiated, Ra's descent was a tale of gods and monsters. But to the sages of Egypt, and to those who truly listened, it was something far greater. It was the map of the inner world. Every night, as Ra journeyed through the Duat, the Egyptians saw a reflection of the human psyche descending into its own darkness, into the subconscious where fears, traumas, and forgotten truths dwell. Apophis was not only an external force, he was the inner shadow that devours our light when we abandon awareness. Each gate of the underworld represented a stage of transformation, a test of courage, truth, and self-knowledge. And each dawn, when Ra rose again, symbolized the awakening of the soul that has faced its darkness and emerged purified. To die each night and rise each morning was the rhythm of the cosmos, and the rhythm of human consciousness itself. The true priest of Ra did not simply worship the sun in the sky. He sought to awaken the sun within himself, to face his inner serpent, to conquer fear, ignorance, and chaos, not by destroying them, but by understanding them. Because the ancient Egyptians knew, you cannot destroy darkness by fighting it. You overcome it by shining brighter. The rebirth of light, Ra as Khepri. At the darkest hour before dawn, when all seemed lost, Ra transformed. He became Khepri, the scarab-headed god of the rising sun. The scarab beetle rolling the sun across the horizon was the symbol of resurrection. To the Egyptians, it represented the mysterious force that pushes light forward, even when surrounded by shadow. Khepri was not born from outside. He was Ra, renewed from within. He had faced his chaos, conquered the serpent, and re-emerged as pure light. Every sunrise was not a repetition. It was a resurrection, a triumph over death, a reminder that consciousness, like the sun, can never truly be extinguished. The priests of Ra celebrated this moment with chants that echoed across the Nile. Hail to you, Khepri, who becomes himself again. The one who rises from the horizon, the one who renews the world by his own light. This was not just praise, it was initiation. The chant was a secret code, the key to the mystery of immortality, that death is not an end, but a transformation of light. The dual nature of Ra. Through his journey, Ra revealed a divine paradox. He was both the unchanging eternal and the constantly dying and reborn. In him, the Egyptians saw the entire cycle of life: birth, growth, decay, death, and renewal, the rise of civilizations and their inevitable fall, the spark of consciousness and the shadow that follows it. Ra was the eternal observer, the light that watches itself move through time. and that is why his myth endures. Because in truth, Ra is not a being, he is a process. The process by which awareness illuminates reality, faces its own darkness, and returns stronger, wiser, more radiant. And so, as the first rays of dawn kissed the desert sands, Ra rose once more, victorious yet humbled. His golden celestial ship emerged from the underworld, carrying the souls of the righteous and the wisdom of the night. The people awoke, and the first light of day touched their faces. They did not see it as mere sunlight. They saw it as proof. Proof that no darkness, no matter how deep, could last forever. The cycle was complete. Order restored. The serpent defeated until night would fall again. But the question remained. What happens when the sun itself begins to doubt its own light? When humanity forgets what the light truly means, and the God of creation becomes old, tired, and betrayed. In the final part of this story, we will witness the twilight of Ra, his rebellion, his decline, and the birth of new gods who would inherit his throne. A story not just of divine fall, but of cosmic renewal, because even gods must face their own shadow. The fall and rebirth of Ra, the hidden sun within humanity. For thousands of years, Ra reigned supreme. He was the giver of life, the guardian of order, the eternal flame that kept chaos at bay. Every dawn was his triumph, every sunset his promise. But even gods grow weary. For the Egyptians, Ra's story did not end with his victory over darkness. It evolved into something more human, more tragic, and infinitely more profound. The light that once created the world began to flicker. And in that fading glow, the gods learned the one truth even Ra could not escape, that every creation must one day face its own decline. As ages passed, Ra's power began to wane. His golden rays no longer burned with the same intensity, and the humans he had created, those born from his tears, began to forget their place. They became proud, rebellious, and ungrateful. They no longer looked to the sky with reverence. They looked to themselves, and in their arrogance they whispered the unthinkable, that they no longer needed the gods. Ra watched from his throne in the heavens, and sorrow filled his heart. He had given them life, order, and the fire of consciousness, but the very light he had granted them had become their rebellion. Mankind had begun to worship themselves, and in doing so, they cast shadows even Ra could not control. And so, the god of the sun decided to remind them who he was. The Eye of Ra unleashed. In his wrath, Ra tore the Eye of Ra from his own being, the blazing force that had once illuminated the cosmos. He sent it down to earth in the form of a goddess, Sekhmet, the lioness of vengeance. Sekhmet was the embodiment of divine fury, pure, unrestrained fire. She descended upon the world like a storm, her eyes burning with the rage of the sun itself. Where she walked, rivers boiled. Where she roared, cities turned to ash. Mankind trembled, realizing too late the magnitude of their defiance. They had challenged the very source of life, and now faced its merciless reflection. But Ra watched in horror as his creation began to unravel. For Sekhmet's hunger for vengeance grew insatiable. The goddess of fire no longer sought justice. She sought destruction. The god who had created order now faced the monster born from his own light. And in that silence, Ra saw the truth, that the same power that gives life can also destroy it. That creation and destruction are not opposites. They are twins. Realizing the danger, Ra devised a plan to save humanity. He ordered his priests to brew a crimson potion made from beer and pomegranate, a drink that would look like blood. As Sekhmet roamed the earth, Ra poured the liquid across the fields. She saw the red reflection in the sand, mistook it for blood, and drank deeply. The beer soothed her fire, numbed her fury, and when she awoke, the goddess of destruction was gone. In her place rose Hathor, the goddess of love and joy, the same divine energy, transformed from wrath to compassion. There was a lesson even Ra himself needed to learn, that power without love is destruction, and love without power is meaningless. But by the time peace returned, Ra was changed. The god of the sun had grown old, his golden fire dimmed by age and regret. He had seen the fragility of creation and the cruelty of his own wrath. And so he withdrew from the world. He ascended to the heavens on the back of Nut, the goddess of the sky, and retreated into the unseen, into the realm of the divine beyond sight. He left his throne to the younger gods, Osiris, Isis, and Horus, those who would guide the living world. And from that day, Ra became Amun-Ra, the hidden sun, no longer seen, but ever present, no longer worshipped for his form, but for his essence. He became the invisible power behind existence, the silent light that moves through all things. If you felt the light of Ra awaken something within you, subscribe to the journey back in time, where ancient gods, lost civilizations, and timeless truths rise again. The hidden sun, the esoteric truth of Ra. In his withdrawal, Ra did not die. He transcended. His disappearance was not the end of an era, it was the beginning of understanding. Because the Egyptians realized something extraordinary. When Ra left the heavens, he entered them. His light, once external, now lived within every soul. The divine spark they called Ba. Every heart became a miniature sun, carrying the eternal fire of Ra. And that was the hidden message of the ancient priests, that man and God were never separate, that the sun in the sky and the light of the spirit were reflections of the same cosmic source. In every breath, in every heartbeat, in every act of creation or love or courage, Ra still burned. The temple walls declared it, Ra is the light within all hearts, the hidden flame that awakens the sleeping soul. Thus the worship of Ra evolved from mere ritual into philosophy, a deep recognition of the divine within man. The sun's daily journey was no longer just cosmic, it was psychological, spiritual. It mirrored the path of every human life: birth, growth, decline, death, and rebirth. The myth of Ra was never meant to end in the sky. It was meant to awaken within the human being. The Egyptians saw in him the eternal cycle of enlightenment, that every soul must descend into its own darkness to rediscover its light, that every fall, every sorrow, every shadow is not punishment, but purification. And in that understanding lies the secret of immortality. To rise again, not as who you were, but as who you have become. Ra's story is not the tale of an ancient god long forgotten. It is the story of consciousness itself, the journey of awareness through illusion, ignorance, chaos, and back into truth. Each sunrise is not merely the start of another day. It is the reminder that even when all seems lost, light returns, always. Not because it is commanded to, but because it must. It is its nature, just as it is ours. The final transformation of Ra, from visible God to hidden essence, marked the beginning of the age of mystery. He became not an object of worship, but a symbol of the invisible order behind all life. He was no longer the king in the heavens. He became the soul of the universe, the eternal fire within all hearts, all suns, all galaxies. The Egyptians understood something few civilizations ever would, that the divine does not live above us, it lives through us. To seek Ra was not to gaze at the sun, but to look within, to face the darkness of the inner duat, to confront the serpent of fear and ego, and to rise again as light. That is the secret of Ra, that you are not separate from the source. You are the source. Every act of courage, every truth spoken, every heart awakened, is another sunrise in the cosmos. And so, the myth continues, not in temples or papyrus, but in you, in every human soul that dares to bring light into a darkened world. Through the centuries, civilizations have risen and fallen, kings have turned to dust, empires have vanished beneath the sands. But one thing has never died: the light. The same light that rose from the waters of chaos in the beginning. The same light that burns in the heart of every sunrise. The same light that burns within you. The ancient Egyptians called it Ra. We call it consciousness, truth, life. But whatever name you give it, it remains eternal. So the next time you see the sun rise over the horizon, remember the God who never truly died, the light that faced darkness and returned stronger. For within every ending lies a new beginning, and within every human being the hidden sun of Ra still shines. This was the journey back in time, the story of Ra, the god of the sun, the bringer of life, and the eternal flame that lives within us all. The forgotten God who created the sun, the hidden truth about our. Welcome to the journey back in time. This is only the beginning. Subscribe now and step deeper into the ancient world's most forbidden truths.